Welcome back to another episode of the 2000 ELO speedrun series. So far we've gone from 800 to 1200 ELO in just 2 episodes, and today we're going all the way up to 1400 ELO. As always in this speedrun, if you think the game has reached a critical position, pause the video, calculate the position yourself, and find the winning move. When you're done, unpause the video and see if our calculations match up. This is called solitaire chess, and it's one of the best ways to improve your overall game whilst watching videos like this one. But we have a lot of interesting games to get to, so let's get straight into game number 1. Okay, let's jump into a new game. We've got the black pieces, and we're playing against e4. Let's go ahead and play c6. Hopefully we get some interesting Caro-Kann line, maybe a Panov. Accelerated Panov would be nice. I have a feeling this might just end up being an exchange Caro. It is. Probably the most boring variation of the Caro-Kann, but that's okay. We'll try to make it interesting somehow. Maybe this is the game that we get a nice end game in. Let's pin the knight. I think it's the best space for the bishop to be. Pinning the knight to the queen. We want e6, we want knight c6. I just released a video about the Caro-Kann. If you would like to go give that a look. It is up on the channel right now. If we play e6, bishop here, I guess we just block a pin with bishop e7. I don't really like playing h6 ever because in some cases h3, bishop h5 and g4 will come, and then when you go back to g6, you have to take with the f pawn, which is really ugly. You always want to take with the h pawn, so I don't really like playing h6 in these positions where a bishop is already on this diagonal and you're pinning something. It's never really a nice idea. In situations like these, you probably don't want him to take, because this check becomes harder to block. You have to block it with an undeveloping move, so we just want to develop here. Even though that it would be giving up the bishop for the knight, it's still slightly advantageous for white. We are also threatening knight takes here, because this is pinned. Let's see if our opponent sees that. It's probably why knight c3 was not so accurate from my opponent, blocking this pawn from being able to defend. He could play bishop b5 and probably evade all of the danger. That is an interesting move. So he's going for this check now. How do I want to deal with this? If I go... Okay, no. If I go check, he's just bishop back. No, bishop back is actually not that difficult. Check, he's just got c3. And that doesn't really do anything because the bishop's always holding. We could just go rook c8, very simply. It's probably the best move, just a simple solution. You might be thinking e5 kind of stuff, but I think just rook c8, I mean, this is held. We're holding this square. If he checks, we get 2 pieces for the rook, which is just very good for us. Our next move will be to play a6. And suddenly, rook c8 was a developing move anyway. He has to move back with his knight. If he plays c3 now, his knight has to go back to an awkward square. We're going to play a6. This doesn't work. He's going to have to go back here, and he actually just loses the pawn. Like, I don't have to move the bishop yet. I can just take this pawn. And I'm going to show you guys exactly why this is a really bad thing to do. Giving up 2 whole pieces for a rook is really bad. There are very few situations where it'll be good. Now, because 2 pieces have come off the board, we never have to worry about this anymore. This is never going to be a place that the bishop can land because the bishop is not here. So let's start off with bishop d6, immediately threatening things on h2, so takes, bishop takes h2, and you can see we're already posing problems. He's allowing it to happen completely, and I will just take, doubling the pawns, and grabbing a pawn for myself. The bishop can even stay up here, because, as you'll notice, there are no dark squared pieces. It's just the light square bishop, so the dark squares are going to become unbelievably weak. I don't ever want him to be able to move his pawns. So I'm going to play bishop f4 and possibly even a g5 at some stage. I'm debating castling. I think I might need to play b5, there's a4. b5, a4, knight here. I think we have to castle. I think there are just too many checks to not castle. We're going to play g5 anyway at some point. So this rook is never really going to be a threat. Maybe I play king g7, h5, rook h8. Even h5 immediately looks fine. There's no easy way to attack it. He's going for this, but my knight holds. So I'm just going to play king g7. Not worried about this at all. The rook obviously can't get in. We're very well defended. And just a couple moves ago, just 5 moves ago, it probably didn't look like we were going to have an attack this big. But this is how bad it can get when you sacrifice 2 pieces for a rook, especially early on in the game. And the reason that early on in the game makes a difference is because the rooks just aren't developed yet. They're the last pieces to get developed, and if you allow me to trade off something that hasn't been developed, I'm going to capitalize on that. So he's going for this, and I assume like after h5, he might even go rook g1, but I'm considering king h6. Marching my king all the way up the board, being an attacking piece. My queen holds this. Rook g8 now is possible with g5 takes and getting my knight into the game. Just everything looks very good. Oh, I did have knight takes. Knight takes has been on the cards for a little while, actually. Actually, no, it hasn't. Knight takes here. This is defended. My mistake. So he's gone back to pressure something that he was pressuring before. I'm completely okay with this. Let's go rook g8. There are no threats. This is not threatened. There is no a4. You're blocking your own pawns. This bishop literally cannot see a single thing. These rooks, it's adequately defended. There's just nothing. And he's going back. He doesn't really know what to do here. This is a good lesson. This is a complete waste of a move, by the way. You've come back and you're going back and forth. You do have to punish this. You can't allow your opponent to be doing this. You have to make forward progress if they do this. So I'm thinking g4. g4 makes a lot of sense to me. Let's play it. g4 takes, knight takes. There's actually here. So takes, I maybe want to play h takes g. And if f3, is it insane if I go king g5? I don't think it is, because then rook h8 is coming. You don't have time for anything. Can I just go king here, takes. Wait, why has he done that? Oh, he wants this fork. Okay, that's very interesting, actually. That's super interesting. So if I take queen here, but then I just go like here. I don't think he's thought about this. Here, I just have queen d6, holding everything. If he goes there, I mean, maybe trade off one of the rooks. Here, knight takes. Now I'm threatening checkmate. So I've just won a bishop. Here, let's take with a rook. We don't really want to take with a knight first because of e3 as we mentioned. But everything is defended. The bishop holds this. The pawn holds this. You can take. I mean, you can take this right now if you really want to, but I've got 3 pieces for your rook. 3 pieces now. If he does take here, we might need to trade off the queens though and play the endgame, which will be completely fine if we do need to do that. Oh no, that would hang that. Queen f6 though is something else to consider. There is no boomerang with taking the defender. Here there are no more checks. We also threaten this. I think queen f6 is the right way to go about doing this. There also is this check, but then king g2, not a big fan of it. I think queen f6 is the smartest way to go about this. Just threatening queen h4. And we'll try to convert this endgame very, very efficiently. It shouldn't be too difficult. The 3 pieces onto 1 rook is usually very simple, especially when you have a decent amount of pawn stuff on the board. We have 4 in this case, and the reason that that's quite important is because you want to have you want to have multiple defenses for your pieces. But we're just going to check here. He's blundered mate here. Here, check. Here, check. Here, check. Here, check. And we at least win the queen. So let's go with this check. Actually, here we've got check. This is actually a much simpler way to do it. We'll look at both ways in the review, but check here, check is mate. This is a much cleaner order to do it in. We are going to get a checkmate here. And there we go. Checkmate, queen h2, good game. Let's have a look at the review. I think we played that game pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how it went. I did think that the game might be a little bit boring to begin with because it just was an exchange Caro-Kann, but our opponent made it very interesting. 93% accuracy. We played the Caro-Kann. Of course, this is all going to be theory. Bishop out. This is absolutely fine. Rook c8, best move. Apparently, that is a really bad move going here because you just allow us to develop. a6, and this is just all over. 4. -4, the eval is right now. -4. That's very interesting. C3, bishop out. We just immediately take the free piece. Castles is the best move. Don't be afraid to castle into open lines. We play g5, defending once more. King g7, h4, king h6, best move, bringing the king all the way up into the attack. King g8, g4, taking. Queen d6, defending both pieces, very good. This is -6 at this point. Takes. Queen f7, queen f6. We could have played this apparently, and we're kind of clear of any of the checks also. I guess just this now, but rook g7. Apparently we bring this last piece in to continue the attack. But what we did was also fine. Queen f6, and this just pawned his mate. I was thinking there is this line. Here, check, here, check, here. There is check here. Oh, this is also just checkmate. We're not just winning the queen. This is also checkmate. That's the other line that I saw. Yeah, and then if he goes here, obviously this is checkmate as well. So we played a very good game there. Very happy with that one. Hopefully that one makes it into the video. And we'll get on into the next game. Okay, we're jumping into another game. We've got the black pieces, e4, e5. Completely happy to play like this. He's bringing out the bishop. We've had this again. Huh. Let's play knight f6. He's playing d3 instead. Last time we had somebody allow us to do this, play the Eurosov gambits. Let's play c3 now. And try to go for d5, which we can just do anyway. Knight f3 does, or knight c3 doesn't stop it. He does have check. He's going back instead. Let's bring the knight. We've got a very, very healthy position here. Can we go bishop g3 or bishop g4, sorry, pinning the knights? I would assume that we can. Doesn't look like there's any tricks that would stop us from doing that. Let's drop back. If he plays g4, we just drop back, and it might be a little bit tricky for him to castle anywhere. This pawn is now a little bit of a worry. He's going to take this and remove the defender of the pawn. If we push, he might go here though, but then I guess just here. So let's play d4, knight e4, bishop e7, and we can allow the trades on f6. Now we can do a lot of things, actually. Queen d2 is a very questionable move, and obviously he's trying to long castle, but now one we can take. If you take, I can take again. If you take, I take again, hitting the rook this time, and I'm winning material there. If takes, and you take, I can take the knight, but then you can take me. If I take the knight first, here, I'm not sure there's a massive difference because this can just come with check at any time. So I think I have to play this. He takes back like this, but if I take here, he's going to take here with tempo. Takes, knight takes. Let's play takes. If he takes like this, fair play. He has to find this move though. Knight takes f6 is a must. Otherwise, he is going to lose material. Let's see if he finds it. He hasn't found it, and I'm pretty sure we just win the game now, because once we remove the defender of this bishop and you take back, that's just a free piece. But if knight takes, and pay attention to the material, it's even right now, +3, even, +9, even, +3, and you've got nothing else to capture. But if you do capture, +3. And I've got this knight that never came off the board. That's very difficult for lower rated players to see, I know. We'll go into the game review so you guys can see that move by move, or actually, hopefully it happens right now. Instead, hopefully he doesn't play pawn takes, so we can actually show that. But it's just danger levels. After he takes, we don't have to take back. We can take something else of equal value. We should just wrap up this win now. Okay, he's taken the bishop, and we get to see exactly what I meant. So you can see the material. It's even, +9. And he has to take my queen here. There's no other choice. Even, +3. If he saves his bishop, we take his rook. And now the game, or not the game, but the trades end +3 or -3 for black. We could take with the king. Taking with the knight is probably just slightly better, so we can always have these castling rights that might be useful later on. I don't think it makes much of a difference. We're so far winning that it's probably not going to matter. We can also just reroute our knight now that we've played that and bring it up really close to the white king. He's attacking my e5 pawn, and I would like to save that. He's looking for f4, I would imagine. So let's play g5 and stop f4 from ever occurring. Let's play h6 to support that pawn. We can always castle long and stack some rooks up on this file. We're gonna take here. I assume he wants to, okay. There's gotta be something really good here. Let's play b6, because I want to castle long, and I'm kind of hoping he plays a move like rook b5, allowing us to castle long. Okay, we can't castle like that, but we can play king e7. I kind of want to make sure he can't ever get to f3, but I don't really have a great way of doing it. He's allowing us to en passant here, but that would fix his pawns, so I'm not really, keen on doing that. Maybe check, king here, check, king up, rook h2. I think that's a decent enough line. It might not be the best line, but it's winning enough for me. He could also go king f1, but we have check here. He can't go here because of the knight. If he goes up, we want rook h2. And I think, this is a trap basically, because you need to find rook f1. Otherwise, I'm going to check and win this pawn. Alternatively, if you decide to go up here, I'm going to check and win you. We do have to be careful though, because if he plays rook d, king d2, okay, we're gonna check here. But if king d2, check, he could actually come back with tempo. We do win another pawn, but he also wins our pawn. I think king e6, we would be fine. We'll look at that in the review, but it's not going to matter. We're going to win his rook. This is a skewer, back rank skewer. Got to be very careful of these. And he resigns. Good game. That was a very instructive game. Very, very happy with that one. Let's look at the review. See if we could have played it any better. 93% accuracy. Let's have a look. We played e4, e5, knight f6. We had a game previously where they played the Eurosov Gambit, which is a very interesting gambit. Apparently taking here is the best. What did I play? Maybe I don't think I played takes there. I think I just played knight c6. But yeah, it's kind of a similar line to the Petrov. Very difficult, and I don't really know any theories of that, so I didn't really fancy playing that. Instead, he played d3. This is the bishop's opening. c6, knight c3, d5, takes. I probably made a mistake here. Knight c6 is fine, but my mistake, bishop g4, I don't think was the correct move because I allowed this. d4 is the best move here, but it feels kind of wrong. Just feels like I've let white off too easily here. d4 is the best move, but apparently it's an inaccuracy. My engine's telling me it's the best move. There's also queen d6. Apparently queen d6 is also fine. I don't know how. Takes, g takes, bishop takes, castles. Okay, well, I'll stick with my move, thank you very much. I think d4 is a lot simpler. d4 here feels fine. Knight e4, bishop breaking the pin, and here is where the problem lies. Apparently I was correct, but even if you found the correct line, even if white found the correct line of bishop takes, so bishop takes was correct, even if they found the correct line, it's actually still slightly better for black, because now I take on g2, and even though you can take here, I can take back with my knights. Knight and queen are pretty much the same. And then I've got this and this that I can go and look at. Rook g1. I get danger levels on e4. You can't take this yet. D takes. And then I can play g6. And you've got a lot of weaknesses. This isolated flank pawn. You've got this pawn. You've got this backwards pawn. And I don't really have any weaknesses in my position. Not to mention I'm also up a pawn. So there wasn't really any great way to play this. What my opponent did was pretty bad though. Which was... they took here. This is just completely losing, and we'll put it on the board now. Knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, and obviously if you move, we take this rook for free. We are actually getting trapped, but it doesn't really matter. Actually, apparently we don't even get trapped. That's funny. We actually just put both of our knights in jail here. That's hilarious. c3. I mean, you can play... Knight takes, pawn takes, and then win this way, and you still can't take anything. King e2 has to be played. Knight f4 check, you've got to trade off. And then we're still up the rook at the end of the day. So that wouldn't have really worked for white, but that's not what happened. Instead, they just took, and then we took with the knight. Knight comes back in, and this is a simple kind of conversion here. Everyone should know roughly how to convert these kind of games. I think not the only move, rook g1 was the move that I thought should be played, but apparently f3, and this is still very good, because h3 comes and you can probably afford to trade everything off. Maybe rook g2 comes even, but instead he played rook over, and after f3, king d1. Actually, everything's mate. I would have thought king d2, it's fine, but I guess takes here and checkmate. Knight e4. Wow, knight e4 and you're threatening rook g1. Okay, so he didn't actually play... He actually played the best move in the position. I didn't even see the mate, to be honest. Rook h1, king down, and then rook takes a1. Wins the game. A very nice game. Very happy with that one. And let's get on into the next game. Okay, new game. We have the black pieces. We have past 1300 elo, and we get the bird opening. Don't really know what the best way to play against the bird is, but let's play d5. I feel like taking the center in this way would make the most sense. Maybe some c5 at some point. Knight e5 immediately sticks out to me as a move that will be possible for white for a while. F6 is a way to stop that, but it also hinders your development. maybe just, if my pawn structure is gonna be on light squares, which I think it will be, maybe just trying to trade off this knight ASAP is the answer. It's pinned to the queen, so I don't have to do anything right now. We can continue developing with knight f6. I want c5, I want e6, c5. I don't like bishop there, actually. I'm gonna play g6 and bishop g7, just so I don't have to take this with a pawn. Let's take now, and I don't know if I want to castle into it. Let's just play e6, just getting this light square pawn structure like we were talking about before. And hopefully this bishop will end up being bad for him when he ends up committing the rest of his pawns to certain squares. I think he's looking for a chance to play bishop b5. So if I played knight c6, for example, he's gonna play bishop b5 to pin it and try and trade off his light square bishop as well. I almost think that 100% of the time if I play knight c6, he's going to play this. Because right now, if they play this, I just play c6 and they've wasted a move. So I can play knight. No, I can't play that. He's going for g5, but I can always wrap around like this, so I'm not really worried about it. Knight c6 might not even be the worst move now, because if you pin and I kick, takes, I don't think you're gonna castle this way anymore. Look what you've done to this side, right? So I kind of just want to play knight c6. And I think we're gonna see bishop b5, of course. And I'm gonna open up this file for myself. Maybe I'll push the a pawn all the way up as well. And we'll see whose attack comes first. There's also the possibility that white can still castle in here. I don't actually think castling in here, kingside is that bad. Let's continue with this a5 idea, trying to break down this side of the board. If you want to castle this way, you're going to have to castle into my rooks. Castling this way I still think is fine. There's just not a big reason not to. I mean, what pieces of mine can take advantage of it? And he's not castled that way. He's castled what I think is the wrong way. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I mouse slipped. I meant to take, but this is fine. We can work with this. He's gone that way, which I thought bishop a1 would have made a lot more sense. I kind of want to castle. I'm kind of calling his bluff on his whole attack, because if I castle and he plays g5, like, it's over. Like, the attack's gone, and I'm gonna come first. But I think I need to go c5 first, and then I can castle. Okay, so here I just wrap around. This is a boomerang, because I'm getting my knight out of danger to save the other piece that's in danger. And now I don't even have to castle this way now. Now that that kind of tension is gone, I don't have to castle that way at all. I'm thinking knight f5 is just a really good move, and if you play something like e4, I just play knight d4. Like, this just feels very good to me. He's threatening to take. I don't want to take back with this and make a backwards pawn, so I'm thinking king e7 is the best move. Not castling. We have no intention of castling. If takes, we take with the queen, and we're looking all the way up here. So that's something he's got to be worried about, or careful about, I should say. Is there any easy way to fix that? Takes. How do you stop queen b2 mate? You have to give up pawns. You have to play d4, takes, and maybe not even take back. So e4 we looked at before. We thought just knight d4 was going to be good. Pawn takes, knight take. I think knight d4 first just is fine. There's no danger levels because we're always defended. And we might even just play c6, to be honest. Take back with the c pawn. Of course, he's got to be careful where he does go. Queen g3, for example, would be a check and a royal fork. So we can't play that move. Okay, he's played queen g2, which is a good move in my opinion because it keeps the pressure on this diagonal. I still think c3. Let's play at c3. We want to undouble our pawn. We also open up this diagonal for our queen to get onto b6, and maybe we have some potential mating ideas. Maybe some c4 ideas. Takes. You know, we've always got this pawn here, which is going to be useful for mating tricks. We'll see how that goes. This is always a potential forking square, by the way. Something to keep an eye out for in games, even if you don't think that your knight can get there now. It might be able to get there later. So he's offering this trade. Immediately my mind says sack, but my brain says don't. Because if I sack, he goes here. I don't really have anywhere to... I do have knight b5. I also have queen a5. And if you take, do I have this? Queen a5, if you take maybe here, but then here. I don't like that. I like knight b5, actually, avoiding the trade and threatening knight c3, which threatens the pawn, of course. And the rook as well. It would be a fork, so he's got to kind of... Okay, this is a good danger levels move. He's threatening my queen here, but I'm just going to play queen b6. Fix that problem, defend it, activate my queen, a move that I wanted to play anyway. Maybe the knight ends back up on d4 as well. You never know. We're also out of this pin, moving our queen. So he wants to take now, which is fine. I'm just going to recapture with the rook if he wants to do that. And he wants to, okay. If I do this, I let his queen have the file. And this is very important to understand, because sometimes letting a rook have the file and not losing a tempo while doing it is better than just having a queen take the file. So if I move my rook over here, the queen is not on the file because I didn't let it recapture. So it has to waste a move going onto the file. And I think the idea must be something like this, getting the queen to f6, which is a lot easier if I just snap up the rook. I'm also looking, do I even need to take the rook? I probably do. Takes. Oh, the idea is actually just to come down here and double up here. So maybe rook f8. There's also rook here and you're threatening check now. I could also play queen d8. Queen d8, I blunder this. No, that's not possible. This position is tricky. I'm thinking rook f8, rook here, and king e8 has to be the best continuation because of this knight takes g6 idea. I've also got this c4 idea, by the way. So say a move like queen h3, c4, check. Here, check. c4, am I not just winning with c4? c4 is a very dangerous move. I've got two checks. So your queen, okay, he's taken. But do I have check? Here, check. Here, check. Wow, is this just mating? Queen check, here, check. Of course, you don't have to go back. You do have this square. But something tells me that it's not looking good. I don't know what the proper continuation is, but it has to be queen f2. I mean, there really is no other move. You could play check, but blocks, like, nothing else really seems to work. So we're gonna play check. And let's see, he has king d3, only move that doesn't lose. King d1 actually also doesn't lose. But then I have like knight d4, and I'm just threatening two checkmates. Okay, so he's chosen this one. I could check, force him to take, check, up. I don't really see a continuation. Check, he's just got a lot of ways out. There is check, forcing him up here. Ooh, this could actually be better than I initially thought. Check, forcing you up here, the knight gets in. I think queen d4 check has to be it. Queen d4 check, you can't go over this side of the board, so you have to go king e2. The knight gets in. We'll calculate from there. I'm pretty sure this is just looking very good and I can checkmate from here. Or he'll have to sacrifice his queen. Check, has to move the king again. Here there is check, so he has to be very careful. He's not going to be able to just run away from this. I could potentially, no. He takes my knights. So here I was thinking just checking again. So let's go for it. Queen d1 check. We've got knight takes e4, which could come with check at any moment. He might be forced to take that with check, actually, or let me take it with check. He might be forced to go king f2 at some stage. Well, he only has two moves right now. King g2, but now check. If you want to go here, I get to check again. I could also just consider this. I think that earning the extra tempo is better, though. I also could check here. But that makes it... I feel like I'm too far away from the action there. Maybe this is fine, though. Maybe taking is fine, because if you go here, I'm always going to check here. And then you kind of disconnect yourself if you go king h4. So maybe taking the extra pawn is fine. But let's look at this first, just before we do take the pawn. Check. I mean, I don't think king going here is any good. So let's say king up. I'm going to take the pawn. I don't see a convincing line if king g1, apart from perpetual. He's allowing me to check here now. So let's do it. We also have this check, but I don't think anything good happens. So we'll go check. Up the one pawn now. Taking on a2, always possible as well. He could get in a lot of trouble, actually. So like, say, all right, king h4 makes a lot of sense there. But if he goes here, check, here, check. Oh, he's gone king f3, huh? This feels very good for me. If I check, by the way, he can go up. If I check down, check king here, check king here. Just don't exactly have what I'm looking for here. Super frustrating. Let's go with check. Only move is king g4. Now my knight kind of needs the f2 square, but I don't have it. Check there. I could check again. I've got 1 minute 38 as well, so I need to figure this out quickly. Check here, here, knight here. Let's go check. If he goes back, I think I'm just going to have to check and take. Because back, I don't really... Oh, back, maybe I've got this. Maybe I train him back the other way. Wow, here, check, king e2. Maybe I don't have anything there. I do have to think of something quickly, though. King here is just mate because of check. Oh, no, it's not mate, sorry. King here, check. King over here, check, and I win the queen, though. So that would be very good for me. So king f3 is the only move for him. Knight check here. Okay, and now we just go check. If he blocks, it's checkmate. If he goes here, we check. We'll figure out the rest of the lines in the game review. I don't think I would have had time to calculate the best line there, actually. Very tricky position. And we're going to get this check, win the queen. Very nice. And we're not going to win it with tempo or anything. Actually, we will. Is there a way that I can just win flat out here? No, okay. Let's take, and let's check and win the rook as well, because he's allowing us to. And this just should be game over. Queen h5 check is going to come. Let's check. Let's check again. We're taking this. No, I'll take. He's resigned. There we go. We'll look at that game review, because that was a wild game. Not exactly what I should have done in the end there. Not exactly sure how I could have done that if he hadn't fallen into the easy lines. But we'll see. We'll look at the opening first. The opening was also very interesting. Okay, we played 77% accuracy. d5, we played bishop g4, which is correct. Knight f6. g6 is fine. Bishop g7, good, trading off. e6 is great. Knight c6 is best. Bishop e5. a6, and we're opening up this file. a5 is best. a4 is best. So I did come up with the right plan of kind of breaking open here. And long castles was incorrect. Is short castles right? Short castles is all zeros. Completely drawn position if you just short castle, despite all of these pawns. Because I mean, I said it in the game. How do I attack? How do I attack the black king? Do I go at h5? h5 loses the game straight away. h5, you blunder this. And now you have no way to boomerang back around to save your bishop. Like, long castling, a big mistake here. We go with a3. I didn't mean a3 though. I meant a takes, but a3, whatever. It happens. c5 I thought was nice. Boomeranging back around here. Going up here. King e7 I thought was nice. Apparently, I guess the engine wants you to play this, and if takes, it wants f takes, and apparently this backwards pawn isn't a big deal. You're just wasting a move if you're, playing king e7. But I thought this was okay. Knight d4 looks good. Just tempo on the queen. c6 now. Takes. You want to take back. Knight f3. This was right. Oh my god, it was right. If you take, c takes, but queen here. Queen c3. Oh, okay. And this is kind of tricky for White to do anything. White's king is well and truly in jail, and I guess you enjoy a pretty positive experience in the endgame. That's what the engine wants. It's not winning for Black by any means, but that is what they wanted me to do. I did look at that line, but I didn't really. I didn't think it was winning at all. Knight b5, knight e5, queen b6, takes. And rook h1. Apparently this was fine. Why was that? Because we have c4. Okay. I spotted c4 later on. So after queen h3, now we have c4. A very good move, getting our queen in on the back rank and check. There's just nowhere you can go because of this a pawn here. King d2 is the only move. Queen f2 check. Okay, d takes e was correct. Wow. Okay, so here. Queen e2 check. Queen e3. Knight d6 check. King over. Knight f5 check, and you win the queen that way. Wow, okay. So I went with, I did not go with that there. I went with check, king e2, check, king up, queen d1 check, great move. Lots of great moves here. Queen takes c2, knight takes, check. There was a better way. Check here, queen f2 check, but then I thought just here. f5 check, what does this do? G takes, oh, knight takes here. Knight takes h7 check. Oh my god. If queen takes, rook f5 check. Here, check. Here and checkmate. Wow. This is checkmate. That's an unbelievable line. You had to play f5. I was looking at f5, but I could never really justify a reason to play it. We ended up with the checkmate though. Let's actually see what would have happened if check and he went back. I guess the engine is just going to tell you to get back to this line where you play f5. Yeah, there's really no other way to play it. Good game though. Very nice game, very instructive game. Hopefully that one makes the episode, and we'll get into the next game. Okay, let's jump into the next game here. We have the black pieces. Let's play e4, e5. Knight comes out to attack our pawn, so we should defend it. By the way, I think in the first episode of this series, I mentioned the move f6 without explaining what it is. It's the Damiano's defense. It's actually just losing f6. It's probably one of the fastest way to lose if you respond with e5 as black, because after takes, there is queen h5 check. If you play g6, check, queen blocks, and you lose your rook in the corner. It was actually one of the fastest ways to lose in chess. So you don't ever play f6. You pretty much never want to play f6 or f3. But we're not going to in this case. We're going to play knight c6. He responds with knight c3. We could bring out our bishop, or we could play knight f6, adding pressure to his pawn. He's going to play bishop c4, attacking our f7 square. He wants to bring in his knight as well, I would assume. So let's mirror him, and we've got exactly identical moves so far. Castles, castles. We're playing a bit of copycat chess. d6 is probably going to be my next move. Let's keep copying him. He's playing all the good moves, so we'll just keep going. I don't know about that one. That one seems like a slightly subpar move, because I can take, I guess I do open up your rook, but I also don't have to take. Maybe I want to play bishop g4, allow you to take, and I've got great pressure in the center with knight d4. He's kicked me, so I'm gonna drop back. If he plays g4, I could even play knight takes maybe. Takes, and he's got a big fat pin there. He's jumping in with his knight now. Can I take? Not entirely convinced. Takes if pawn takes, it's a little bit annoying. Actually, takes should be fine if pawn takes. Pawn takes, because I can just go up here. If he takes with the bishop and I take back, sure, but he can never take because of this pin. So he'll have to play g4 at some stage if he ever wants to take with this knight, which is very damaging to his pawn structure. Takes. I can drop all the way back with my bishop. I'm not worried about this at all. And now I feel like I'm slightly better. He's got this pin that he needs to address. His pawns are doubled in the center. I've got f4 coming. Is f4 the best move? I've also got queen f6. Queen f6, and I think you're forced to play g4. If you don't want your pawns doubled and to enter a losing endgame, you're going to have to play g4 here. g4, I do have to, stall a little bit after bishop g6 to throw the pawn forward. I need to move my queen away. I need to play h6 to make sure the bishop's always safe. Maybe at some point I need to play a6 to make sure this bishop's safe. But he's allowing me to double his pawns here. He should trade off queens, otherwise it will get very ugly. And now we've got this end game where he's got two sets of double pawns, an isolated pawn, and we do have opposite colored bishops, so a very instructive end game for sure. Let's play f5. Usually you want to throw pawns forward to the top of your pawn chain, if you can. We're going to freeze some isolated pawns back here as well by doing so. I play a best move might be f4 here for him. f4, I might play rook a e8, but he's allowing me, and now we've got this big pawn chain. If you can try to achieve this, you probably should. Advanced pawns are always going to be slightly better than unadvanced ones. He played bishop rook c2 to stack here, but I can just take. I don't care about undoubling your pawns if I'm just going to win it. And this is not an isolated pawn. This has adjacent pawns, so I'm not too worried about this at all. We can take, we can drop back. We can drop back to e5, and then how do you even get in? Like, what is your bishop doing? Like, your bishop can't really do anything on all of these dark squared pawns, and we should make an effort to put our pawns on dark squares. That is a good move, though. We're going to respond to it with rook f7, though. Offering the trade, defending the c7 pawn from behind. Rook f7, we would go rook f7, rook f8. There's actually not a big reason to go rook f8 right now. Rook f8 takes, we just go here, I guess. It's not the worst move. Bishop e5 actually just looks a lot better. Cutting the defense, and now this rook is hanging, so he might have to take. It might look like this move does nothing, by the way. Like, we're just moving a bishop, and okay, well, we've got to this position, but I haven't improved my position, but I kind of did. Now there's no tactics ever on this bishop from this rook because it's not hanging. It's currently defended by a pawn, and that's a slight improvement on what it was before. Also, this pawn is defended, so it's a slight improvement. And we've also got our king a little bit more active. It is an improving move, albeit a very narrowly improving move. Okay, so I don't really want him to be able to advance this pawn too much. So I'm gonna play g5, and I'm also thinking there could be this idea of targeting a weak pawn in this fashion. His king could just sit on g2 though, but regardless, pushing our pawns to the top of the pawn chain is very good if we can do it. Right now we can't, of course, because this is a strongholded square, but h5 maybe we can play a slight improvement on our position, making our pawn a little bit more advanced. Then maybe rook g1 or rook g8. Here takes, check. Slowly but surely improving the position. We are up that single pawn now, so we don't have to worry too much about the doubled pawns. We can play rook g8 here. It's in our plan anyway if we want to do this. But we've also got the plan of rook g6, rook h6, and rook takes. If his king wanders away too far, it might wander too far and not be able to defend. It is wandering. Rook g6, can it get back in time? It can. So let's make another improving move of just a king running up the board, king f6, slowly getting it more active. We don't want to put it on light squares yet. And now this king has traveled quite a fair distance away from its pawn. So the rook will have to come now. Rook here and rook here. Very inactive rook, and he has no intention of saving this pawn. We are going to win the pawn now. There's no way to defend it. It is opposite colored bishop endgame though, so you do have to be very cautious. One pawn will not win the game, especially if everything is traded off. And this is a very interesting idea. I'm not sure what the king is doing. We're going to take. The king can't make any more progress. He's playing rook up to try and trap my rook, but I can play this, force him to play a passive move of rook f1, and then h5. And suddenly, this pawn is not going to be used to break here anymore. It's going to be used to make a queen. It is a passed pawn. A good move would just be to go over and attack this. This is not an easy thing to defend, by the way. We're going to continue with h4. h3. The queen is coming. Let's run over here. Pawn up. If he comes here, I'm considering very much to check. Trade this off. King takes. And when the bishop moves in, I've got all of these dark squares to come in on. I have to be very sure that that's... I mean, my rook is trapped otherwise, so I don't really have a choice. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be okay for me, especially if I can stop you from ever coming there. So bishop out, coming in on the dark squares. I think c6 is going to be an important move here to break forward. We can't really do this and this. We don't have enough numbers on this side. But we're going to break here. If he doesn't take, we win the pawn. And the most important thing here is allowing our king to get up to d3. So let's go b takes. He does maybe have some ideas here at some stage. Okay, he's gone bishop e6. I would very much like to disconnect him from the c4 square again. Here, here, here. Because if I go up, he's got a check and I have to just go back down. So let's put our pawns on light squares for now. He can come and attack it, but I'm just going to play c5. And maybe my bishop should come all the way back around. Okay, now I'm just going to grab this. The pawn is coming in from the back to eat the pawn chain. The light square bishop cannot defend. It can intermezzo bishop d7, but just c5, and I'm very much okay here. Let's take. Still not out of the woods yet. 2 pawns is not a win. Let's play a5 though to freeze the pawns and freeze our pawns on dark squares where this bishop cannot intervene. And it's very important that we always have a c4 pawn break that is supported by light squares. So if we go here, here, here takes here, this is very good for us. So let's go c5. We could have also considered something like king c4, here, check, king over, and try to go after this, but still thinking this is okay. We've also got some kind of pawn sacrifices here. I'm not sure I want to commit with c4 just yet because this is a passed pawn. Let's go with this check. If I ever come back here and play d4, he's always got bishop here, which I really dislike. If I play g4, takes here, g4 takes here, here, here. Wow, g4 could work. g4 here, push, here, here, here. King e4, bishop's here, here, here. I think this is slightly better because it creates another passed pawn. So we're gonna have this as a passed pawn right now. Obviously he could also go here, but our bishop is very, very well aligned to kind of take care of that. So here, here, here we would check. Here we would come down. Here we would come down again, and now we're defending. Something along those lines, but it's very, very, very sharp. That's what you need to understand about opposite colored bishop endgames. It's just always going to be very sharp. Even if you're up 2 pawns, you could be up 3, 4 pawns, and it's still insanely sharp. My opponent has disconnected, but I do think this is winning regardless. We'll look in the review if they do resign the game from this. Hopefully they don't resign. Hopefully they come back. And it looks like we will get the win from here. They have auto-resigned from game abandonment. Let's go into the game review though. Have a look and see if that was a winning endgame. I'm pretty sure it was, but we'll look. We'll look from the start of the game actually. And let's see, it was completely winning. I was correct. Nothing crazy. I actually did blunder the game away a couple times. That's very interesting, okay. We played this all correctly. This is good. Castles, d6 is nice. Bishop g4, very good. Knight in takes, and I felt slightly better. Here I am, I'm -1 here, even after the mistake. I'm actually negative 2.5 here. What was the mistake? I should have played f5 immediately. Okay, interesting. But I thought this endgame was good enough. I thought this was enough of weaknesses to kind of be better. Opposite color bishop, so the engine thinks it's zeros here. This is wrong. I'm losing a bit. Oh my god. Rook takes here and here. Wow, okay, I completely missed that. That's a very interesting tactic. Very difficult to see. I mean, I didn't even see it. Takes. I blundered that twice, but the rest of the game is pretty much... Wow, you can go here again. Rook takes e5 because I put my rook on g8. Interesting. We move our king, and now the game is kind of getting very close to losing, or it is losing. It's -2 for black. We are completely winning here. The h-pawn comes up the board. This was the wrong idea. I should have played bishop d4 instead to put extra pressure on this. So say bishop d4, he's going to make a waiting move now. So say bishop g5, and now we play this. If you play this, I go here, and now if you pressure me, I check. This was a more accurate way to play. I kind of just gave up my pawn for no reason there to get the rooks off the board. I was confident that I was going to win anyway. Bishop c3, we are slightly winning here. We're pretty much -1. Although, if I put the engine on like 60 depth or something, maybe it would be a draw. Takes. Cutting off the bishop from important squares is very important. We win another pawn. a5 is very important. It was -5. The engine is saying -5, but I'm not convinced it's -5. c5 is good. Bishop e3. c4. g4 was the best move. Okay, here you play f3. I thought king d1. And now you play c4. Bishop b takes. D takes, bishop g6 now apparently, f2, king e2, king c3, wow. And there's just nothing they can do here. There's just no good moves. I mean, if you push, I'm gonna play king b2. Bishop e4 here, I'm gonna play c3, g6, bishop d4, and I'm gonna sit here, wow. Here I go c2, you have to take, I'm taking. Here, I can actually push you over one more to get you one square further away, and then I take, and it's the right colored bishop for the corner. And that's often the case in these endgames. It's whoever has the right colored bishop for the corner that the pawns are sitting on, and this is a win. I can simulate a win here just to show you guys here, and there is simply no way for you to sit in front of my pawn because of my bishop. I'm just going to play this. Let's go here. It looks like you boxed me in, but that is not the case. I play here, king d1, check, king over, and I queen. This is obviously very winning from here. A very instructive game. Probably would have gone down to that had my opponent not auto-resigned, but a very nice game. And that concludes the games for the third episode of the 2000 ELO speedrun series. I hope you've all enjoyed this series so far. We have 3 more episodes left of this series, and it's going to get a lot harder when we get up to 2000 ELO. And if you haven't already, go and check out the poll on my community tab here on YouTube, where you guys get to vote on which video you'd like to see next. I post to my community tab very frequently, so you guys can have an input on what content you see here. But thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.